Hey guys, GPV247 here. Welcome to my 911 operator review for the PC. So everyone, this game has just been released on Steam. It's actually a really interesting game. I thought this game was going to be like some sort of mobile rip-off game that somehow made it onto Steam. But no, it's actually really fun. We'll get into that soon, guys. I'll read out the game's description right now, okay? In 911 Operator, you take on the role of an emergency dispatcher who has to rapidly deal with the incoming reports. Your task is not just to pick up the calls, but also to react appropriately to the situation. Sometimes giving first aid instructions is enough, at other times a police, fire department or paramedics intervention is a necessity. Keep in mind that the person on the other side of the line might turn out to be a dying daughter's father, an unpredictable terrorist or just a prankster. Can you handle all of this? Now, the game is not kidding everyone. This game's random events are insane. You have to just put yourself in the shoes of a real life 911 operator. All the stuff they'll have to hear in their jobs. This game really did open up my mind completely to see what these guys actually have to face on a day-to-day basis. Just because they're not on the, boots on the ground, so to speak, they still have to command and control all these emergency services out there. So hats off to you operators out there. I cannot believe how hard your job actually is after playing this game especially. I could not imagine the stress and multitasking skills that you'd have to actually do this job in real life. The speed is about to get stuffed up. Running into police van. Here we go. You ready? Here we go. Bang! Ah, gotcha. Lovely. This game is actually a very surprising little gem. I wasn't expecting it to be good at all, but 911 Operator really did blow me away with the way that it actually played. It's a very fun game. If you are into this kind of genre, guys, where you get to control, emergency services to try and take out, terrorists or put out fires or sort out crashes or stop a mugging, this is the game for you, because you don't actually play as police on the ground or the emergency services. You're actually the operator, so you have to dispatch like the units to the crime scenes or the incidents. So yeah, it's a very cool game. I've never actually played a game like this before in my life, so very fun to play. The only problem is though that the funness level of it starts to drop dramatically later into the campaign mode. So 7 hours or so into it, guys, the game really starts slowing down. It really tries to push you towards grinding reputation points. Now, what reputation points are, pretty much think of it as the reward system in the game. If you do poorly and say your officers die, or you don't help out civilians, or you're just not a good dispatcher, you'll get minus reputation. And once you get minus reputation, you're pretty much screwed. You get positive reputation for each case successfully closed or each incident dealt with. I found that towards the end, especially around the New York area, guys, so get 6 campaign missions if I'm correct, from what I saw anyway. I got up to the 5th one, which was New York. The calls that came in, so say the incidents, the actual jobs that came in were quite repetitive. I had someone call up about 50 times, I reckon, during my gameplay, saying they ate poisonous mushrooms, you know what I mean, or their stomach felt sick. You can only handle hearing the same lines over and over again so many times, you know what I mean, guys. Repeat events are definitely the downfall of the game, so great game to start with, extremely fun to start with, but then later on it gets really repetitive. I thoroughly enjoyed like the terrorist shootouts and stuff. I love the excitement of that. But having to always worry about people that are eating poisonous mushrooms or eating bad burritos or dialing the wrong number because someone's parked in their car park. Even though I do understand this happen in real life, but to add it so much in the game, it just really started to get on my nerves towards the end. I'm not sure if I'm the only one out there that's actually had that problem with this game, but you can only handle so much prank calls and useless calls, guys. Especially when there's 500 reputation points to unlock the last level. Do you know how long 500 reputation points will take? It's a ridiculous amount of a grind, and to deal with the most dumbest calls as well that waste your resources, especially ones where if you ignore them, even though they're prank calls or they're calls that don't really matter, if I press ignore on some of these, I will get punished by about -9 reputation. There is the option to fast forward, because if the game's moving too slow, which it will be, that fast forward option will be your best friend. But just remember, you're fast forwarding the entire game. So when calls come through, if you don't answer those calls right, you're going to get massive point reduction. Do not skip on the calls or you're going to suffer dramatically. You might as well just reload the game that you're playing. because you're pretty much screwed if you miss 2 or 3 calls. It makes playing useless pretty much. So even though you get more cash, which allows you to buy more units, I just felt like losing that amount of reputation points really makes the game suffer progression-wise. It's really interesting to see that each different team member has individual stats. You can also buy in-game weapons and equipment as well for these individual team members, which is quite fun. Like, I really enjoyed the customization in the game. You're going to have crimes ranging from car accident, where someone's, crashed into someone accidentally, terrorist attacks, hostage situations, drug overdoses, where a father will literally call up and say that he's found his daughter dead, and you have to try and talk this man through it. It's a horrible experience. You're going to run into experiences where your officers will die on scene, so you have officers down, suicide attempts, pregnancies, finding babies in dumpsters, even rapes. You even have to deal with rapes in this game, guys. Murders, of course. Like, it's incredible what you have to deal with. Variation-wise, when it comes to the gear and the different team members, are really cool. Really fascinating stuff there. The callouts initially are fantastic as well, but yeah, it really falls flat in the way of how repetitive it gets towards the end. Now, controller-wise, everyone, it's a very straightforward setup. You just left-click on the team that you want to select, and then you right-click to move that team to the selected destination. So it's very straightforward. You can even control what team member, how they interact on the ground. So let's say they get to a shootout, right? You have paramedics and you have police on this site, okay? Now, you can get the paramedics to revive or heal specific members of that event, so whether it be your own team or the criminals, to make sure they don't die, because you have to remember, you do have to end up saving criminals as well. You can't just kill everyone, because that's not how real life works, obviously. I did suffer at the beginning of the game because I didn't understand the game too quickly, but I did catch on to it very fast, so bravo to the developers for doing that job good. Graphics wise, the game is, yeah, it's alright. I mean, it's not really something outstanding. You just look at a map with a bunch of icons rolling around everywhere. I mean, probably the most in-depth area is the character icons, I guess, and the weapon icons. I mean, I didn't really see that much graphics-wise. I think that's the way the game was meant to be as well, everyone, so probably nothing out of the ordinary there. It's very straightforward. The game does cost, I think, nearly $20 Australian currency, so that's up there, dude. So you do get your hours worth out of it. If you can put up with replayability and the repetitiveness of it, then you're fine, but not for me, sadly. I just did not enjoy that repetitiveness. I keep hammering that point across to you guys. Like, it does get very repetitive, I'm not kidding. Again, just as the graphics area, the sound kind of falls flat as well. There's not really much there. And there are voiceovers. The dispatcher does speak to suspects or people in need. There is speaking, which is cool. I'm very happy they added that in, because if you just have to read everything, it would be extremely frustrating. But yeah, there are voiceovers. Every unit does have their own individual voice, or every team has their own individual voice. You do have male and female teams, which is a nice little bonus there as well. That's it. Situation under control.
911, what's your emergency?
Hello, I have a problem. Someone is trying to get into my house through the back door.
Crap. Where?
Okay, where do you live?
I live at...
So tell me what's happening.
It's probably
Down there.
Crazy Ray, my ex-boyfriend. I heard knocking at the door. He's probably drunk again. What should I do?
You have a weapon.
I'm sending the police right now. Is it possible that Ray has a weapon?
Yes, he usually carries a knife. Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
He broke down the door. What should I do?
Uh-oh.
Hang on for a sec, okay? I want you to find a room that you can lock the door on, and then get in there, shut it, and lock it, okay?
Okay. Oh god. He knows I'm here.
Hold on, I know you can do this. Police are on the way.
What should I do? I have my father's gun. Should I shoot him?
You have to defend yourself the best way you can. You can't let him hurt you.
That's right.
Sure I will. Ray, get the fuck out of my house, because I will shoot you, I tell you. I think I killed him. I think I killed him. Ray!
Far out, dude.
911, what's your emergency?
Yeah, I need some help.
What's the problem, little guy?
Where's my math?
With your math?
With your math?
I have to do it. Will you help me?
Well, where do you live, little guy?
No, what's my math?
All right, what's the math? Is your mom or dad nearby?
Hey, 17.
Can you ask your mom to come on the phone?
Mom, come on the phone.
Oscar, what are you doing?
The policeman is helping me with math.
What did I tell you about staying on the phone?
But I need help, so you call police.
Yeah, but I didn't mean the police. Hello?
No problem, ma'am. Is everything all right there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll tell him to stay off the phone.
It's all right, ma'am. Just make sure he's not afraid to make a 911 call in the future, okay?
Of course. Thank you. Goodbye.
That's great. Dude. Wow, alright. That's, if you don't know everyone, that was a famous clip on YouTube, by the way. It was about a little kid that needed help with his math. It's hilarious. He called the police. You're like 911. So funny, man. Cool.
911, what's your emergency?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
What?
Sir, what's happening there?
My daughter! My daughter!
What's the address you're calling from?
Stress. What's going on?
What happened to your daughter, sir?
Why did you do that? My little girl. Oh god, you found her. She's dead.
Okay, sir, we're gonna get ambulance on the way. Have you checked her pulse?
Yes. There's no pulse. There's no pulse. She doesn't have a heartbeat. Her heart stopped.
That's CPR.
Is her body completely cold?
My baby.
Do you know what happened to her?
Drugs.
There are syringes all around her. Someone gave her drugs. Now she's dead.
I'll send a patrol there. Please stay where you are and try not to move or touch anything.
Far out, man. That is rough as. Holy crap. Cops are already there, though. So that's the main thing, but... lost someone. Not good at all. I really loved how the game always made you think, though, because if you had certain situations, if you sent the wrong team there... let's say I sent a motorcycle cop to deal with a terrorist attack. I think I've actually done something along those lines, and my police officer actually got murdered. So, you really have to think carefully on where you send your units. If you send them to the wrong incidents, they're going to die. At the end of every level, guys, your shift will run out. Pretty much it's a clock at the top of the screen. It spins. When your shift's up, that means the level's over. So, at the end of the shift, the game won't complete until you finish that last call out. So, what I like to do is always send all my units, every single unit on the screen, to that one spot, and to see how quick I can get it done. Pretty much it's instant. When 7 police units are on the scene at a fight or something, everyone gets cleaned up straight away, so yeah. In conclusion, everyone, I really like the game. Not really much else to go into, because it's a pretty straightforward game. Replayability wise, there is replayability there if you can handle the repetitive callouts. First time around though, the game was great. Towards the end though, it started to suffer. Sound wise, the game's alright. Graphics wise, the game's alright. You can't expect anything more than what it is. I don't think I've had a game actually make me multitask like this in quite a long time. So yeah, content wise, it's great. I would have loved to see the callouts spread out more though. Maybe a little bit of variation on the callouts as well, and definitely cut back on the repetitiveness of it, guys, for sure. All in all, I think I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10. I had a great time playing it, but to give it anything more, improvements would have to be made for sure. I'm sure you guys that have played it will agree with me as well. There are definitely areas that this game can improve on, but I did enjoy it, so that's the main thing. There was gameplay there was a funness level to it, and there was a level there to make you think as well, so that's always what you want to see in a game. It's sad that it didn't come through at the end for me, but I'm sure a lot of you guys out there might have actually enjoyed the end of it. I just could not play through to Washington. I just could not grind those reputation points anymore. I know for a fact as well that you unlock new units and gear and vehicles throughout the progression of the campaign as well, guys, so don't think you're only stuck with like a police car, an ambulance van, and, you know, a fire truck. You do get new team members and vehicles to play around with later on in the game. That's if you make it that far though, of course. I did manage to unlock shotguns, assault rifles, pistols, body armor, you know, like a little tablet that makes solving crimes faster. Then there's like the emergency kits and the maintenance kits. So there is definitely content to this game. So 7 out of 10 everyone. I do hope that you all enjoy this review. The game's fun. I definitely recommend you pick it up, especially if you enjoy emergency service games. It's a great game just to play. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I did enjoy it. That's the review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you all did enjoy. Please remember to hit that like button if you did. And I'll see you all tomorrow, alright guys? See you around.